Okay.
Hey folks, I'm Jennifer Burke, and for those who don't know me, I'm from Mighty Marketing Mojo. And I'll give you a quick background here that I actually named Mighty Marketing Mojo after one of these challenges that led then to Momentum Coaching Mastermind with Kelly McCausey. And our Monday group was named Mighty Mondays. And yes, that's why it's Mighty Marketing Mojo, because I loved my mastermind so much that now part of the name is in the business. So we're going to talk tonight really quickly about creating mighty forms and the different things we can do with them. And there's tons of options about that. And there's tons of options for creating the forms. There's tons of ways to use the forms. We're all about simplification and keeping it simple and easy. So there's two tools I'll show you, and primarily the one that I'm using on my website, and like, why am I using this one on my website? And I can also tell you that it's exact same form. And I'll show you somebody else's website that's using it because I know she loves it too. And I'll tell you right now that, like, at the end of Kelly's Stretch Yourself Content Challenge, there's going to be a Formidable Forms form for you to share your feedback about the challenge and your point and all of that. She's just using the version of Formidable, and I'm still dragging my heels and I'm still using the Lite version, but I'll show you everything that you can do with just the Lite version right now. So I am going to make sure we are actually sharing the screen. Cool. So you're inside my website now. Let me just make sure I can see all of your lovely faces and make sure that I find the participants window for the waiting room and the chat. Lite equals free. Correct, Katie. Yep. So budget friendly. So there's, like, basically there's two great tools that are free. This one you may recognize. That's Google Forms. Works perfectly well. Limited in terms of branding. I'm not sure I'm, iRobot and robot branding and stuff like that here, but it dumps responses really easily into Google Sheets, and you can make pretty charts and things like that. This is one that's been running for about 18-20 months. And so you can see it's already got some responses, and you can see what that looks like, and they're anonymous. This is the response per question. There's other ways that you could flip that around. If you're just getting started, if you are still working on your website, if you are not on a WordPress based website with plugins like Formidable Forms, then yeah, Google Forms works as a free option to do all these kinds of things. And like I said, there's some limited styling and customizing as well. So I may pop back over here to this one in a second. So what I'm using, however, on my website, so again, we're all looking here. I'm on WordPress, .org. It's hosted through MomWebs. This is Formidable Forms, and you can see Forms Lite. I'll tell you right now, and I'm going to share over here, because yes, I do love them so much that I do have an affiliate link, and I'm going to drop it in the chat just because. And I will also tell you that I always tell my folks, that's Trello, by the way, and those are all my affiliate links for common products that are stored in Trello. They often do a spring sale. Guarantee you they will have a Black Friday sale, and I will tell you about it as soon as I hear about it. I did search in their affiliate swipes and stuff like that in their promo partner area. There are no coupons currently active. I'm sitting here probably waiting for Black Friday, because in the meantime, I can do what I need to do with it without having the paid. And I'll tell you what the number one feature is that I would pay for. And so here's a bunch of different forms that I've currently got running, and it's showing you how many entries of various forms are in them, when I created them. The key here is that it makes it really easy to add any Formidable Forms to any page or in even any post inside of WordPress. You can do it with a little shortcode in that key, or you don't even have to remember that, because the Formidable Forms is going to be there above your editor inside of WordPress. So that's one of the other advantages. I'm using Formidable Forms because it means I can embed the form on my website. Yes, you can do that with Google as well. My nonprofit that I'm the founding president of, we run our calls for proposals for our conference and speakers and our volunteer forms. All of our forms are running off of Google, but they're embedded on our website. It's easy enough to do. And it's easy to do for, in that case, where our website isn't WordPress based. So it's easy for us to have our branding and a message and give more information and pictures and then embed the form. Back when we were a WordPress-based website, we actually used Gravity forms. We did pay for that. That's one of the other ones that I like, but I'm with Formidable now. One of the only other things is that after you share this, I'm like, so for example, I could hit preview on this one. This was one of I have a testimonials. Testimonials are one of the challenges that we can potentially do. You should always be collecting testimonials for your products, your services, your offers. And a form makes that really super simple and easy. You don't have a back and forth. You save time. You're not going back and forth with your clients or your customers. More importantly, you can potentially get more standardized information from all of them, so that it makes it nice and easy peasy to then reuse those wonderful testimonials when you're creating new sales pages and other things. So this is what it would look like if I didn't embed it anywhere. So it's missing the Mighty Marketing Mojo stuff, and it's missing my branding, and it looks a little naked. So, but you can double check it. You're like, okay, does that look like that's a big enough box for them to write in? Yep. You can see this one has mostly paragraphs for text, free text, type whatever you want. You see there's a little yes, no radio button here, option down here. You can see, yes, I did add an emoji for something. And then you can often change what the button text says. But I use different forms to gather testimonials, in some cases for different offers, so that I know that I'm getting one that is specific to the offer. If it's going to be an evergreen offer, like if I'm going to write, in this case, it was the Write Your Damn Emails challenge that I ran last winter. So if I'm going to run it again, well, I'm going to keep the testimonial form the same. But running a challenge and the questions you might ask somebody to give you in a testimonial, we can go look at that again, are going to be different for the testimonials from a workbook or one-on-one coaching or group coaching or, a service package that you offer. You want to tailor that. So for example, but some of the question types are the same. One of the things that I learned when I took the testimonials fuller workshop before not the one that's just in this challenge, is to ask questions that get better answers. So what I mean, I love when somebody leaves me a note in my Facebook group or my email or Kelly's forum telling me, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I love Jennifer's brain. I'd borrow it again. Those are fantastic. And they make me feel really good. They're not necessarily super helpful as a testimonial. Like, well, that's great. And pretty clearly, oh, well, your friends left you that testimonial. Well, they did, but they were sincere. What's more helpful, though, for our potential clients or the people who look at a sales page and maybe don't know us as well are, what happened for you? Where were you before you did something? Before you bought the thing, before you had the service, before you had the coaching call, before the workshop, before the challenge? What was things like after you did the thing? Like after you worked with me, after you borrowed my brain, after you took the email writing challenge. And then a couple of other things I asked, like, how did you surprise yourself? Because we're also wanting to get our clients and our customers to think back and put themselves back in the moment, especially even if that's a week later, or we've sent it to them, 3 weeks later. Something, I learned from Dr. Melissa Peet, tell me about a time when, get somebody to think about something specific. Tell me about a specific call. Tell me about a specific instance. What's one thing you learned about formatting emails? Or what's one thing you learned about yourself in writing emails during the challenge? The more specific they can remember, the better details it's going to be, the more helpful it's going to be for you and the person who's actually reading the testimonial. And yes, I always make sure that I ask, do I have permission to share this? That's another reason that we're using a form and not just screen grabbing off of Facebook. I'll also tell you, I've got another tool on my website that can help with that. Thrive Ovation from the Thrive suite of tools is a plugin that makes all my testimonials look really good and pretty all over my website and makes it easy to change them out. But there are ways that it can go and collect them off of social media. I haven't explored that to its bestest yet. So that's just some of the differences of like, what's going to be the challenge one versus, okay, yes, this is the one that I most recently wrote and sent out to the Tech Therapy Mastermind members. And I want to make sure that I can, so things like sharing their business and website. And I'm fairly certain that this one, form, when we take a look at building the form, it's going to know whether it's a URL or just random text or not. So that should be formatted properly. You can also see the little red asterisks. Those are required questions. No asterisk, not required. So a couple things I'm going to ask and require them to tell me. And then there's some other stuff that I don't. They can fill this out if they want to or if they don't want to. I added this part about, I understand my comments. I'm making sure that they know that I'm going to do my best to keep their words as they said and intended. But sometimes, if you write me lovely, really, really long, amazing testimonials, I might need to just take one sentence of that for any given part of the sales page, or only one sentence of it to share on social media. So I'm just covering and making sure that they know that, so they don't come back to me and say, you took me out of context. Well, I did warn you about that. So Cindy's got a great question about, can you have them upload a headshot or a logo in this? Well, the answer is yes, you can. If I go buy Formidable Pro. So that's basically the one top reason why I need to go get the paid version, and why I'm going to wait for the coupon deal. It's not that expensive. I can go take a look and see what it is, because it does then let you upload things. It's going to unlock more templates for different forms so that you don't have to build everything from scratch. It's going to unlock some additional form features. And the biggest one that I think a lot of us would use for collaborations, for testimonials, you'll see it when Kelly does it, that you can upload a picture. So for example, when I ran the email stories one was for my collaborative blog post last year, which meant I then had to go individually email all the people and say, hi, can you please send me your headshot? Which if I had just gone ahead and gotten Formidable Pro, then I wouldn't have had to do that. I believe there is an option with Google Forms where you can upload things. And so I know that there are certain people that are using Google Forms because yes, you can upload things for free with that. So you can see, for example, this one was this year's version of the collaborative blog post that I may be working on about using video and the different questions that I want to ask. Again, I may not use all of this in one single blog post, but I'm asking them specific questions so that I can get better answers. And maybe so that in one section of a blog post, I could share 3 different people's take on style and format that they like best, and show you, hey, doesn't have to be the same. Lou may love kinetic videos, and Tanya loves live videos, and somebody else loves, animated cartoon character videos. All totally, totally cool. This one's a bit longer than last year's collaborative post. You do you. The other one I was playing around with, and let's see, where did it go? Oh, so I said, hey, Formidable, can I take a look at these these templates that you have. And they're like, sure, give me your email address and I'll send you 10 free. I'm like, all right, fine. So one of the ones that it popped it in and it created for me was this request a quote. So this one could have this is me starting this one out as, somebody wants to potentially use this as a client inquiry form. Well, Formidable has a bunch of templates that are already in there. And that's another advantage to potentially using the pro version. But I could also go and edit this and add in other things that I want based on other templates, other formats for, say, what I want to ask a potential client before I know that it makes sense to work together. And that was something that had come up in a triad, in a call with some other folks. Were like, hey, rather than getting on the phone with everybody who might potentially be your client first, and then having this long discussion taking up a lot of your time, send them to a forum where you can ask them some questions and they can give you some information about what they're looking for, what they've already done. And then you can maybe even respond via email with, okay, I think it might be a good fit. Here's a couple of other things for you to think about. Here's the link to get on my calendar. Or you can go back to them and you're like, I don't think we're the best fit. It sounds like your project is X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but I do LMNOP. But here's a client, here's a colleague that I might refer you to. So there's a preview. I've got a version of that where I'm like, hey, does it make sense to do the borrow my brain session, a 1 hour, coaching thing with me? And I need to know a little bit about their business. I need to know what the problem is that we're going to use in our 1 hour together. And because I was using this to gather testimonials at one point, I'm like, well, do you agree to do that? And you can see I customized that because I'm pretty sure the radio button didn't say certainly and nope. So don't be afraid to put your personality even into the forms if it makes sense. Another reason why you can put it on your own website, because then you can add a picture or an image before or after, the form, to be a little more you. Yeah, MJ, absolutely. It's a must have, especially if you're doing any one-on-one work. Save yourself time, save your potential clients time before you even get on that 20-minute call. Have a more productive client consultation call by getting some information from them ahead of time. So this is all the forms that are right now currently active on my site. So you can see, there's an import and export. I think the inbox is where if anybody's replied or if there's tracking. The main thing, let's see, is entries. So entries is, see, look, there, Pam gave me a testimonial just the other day. I'm very excited. And to read it and like, whoo. But you can see and go back now. This was a really funny one. So I did the email stories and I did it during September of 2021. And yet I keep scrolling. I discovered this the other day. There's like an email stories here from somebody from July of 2020. Somebody traveled back in time and figured out how to submit something to my form a year before it existed. I haven't figured that one out yet. So if anybody else knows how that could have happened, let me know. Otherwise, here's your proof that time travel is apparently possible. So the next question is like, okay, so let's go make a form. So fine, let's go back to forms and we want to edit one. So let's go edit this one. Yeah, fine. Ooh, so MJ saying that she would like to use a form like that to find out what people who are visiting my site are interested in learning. You could certainly make this really quick. And somebody, I think Barbara's here, who'd asked me, could we do this? Katie asked if we could do this for polls. The answer is absolutely. You could have a poll that you then send people to, easy peasy, a really quick survey. Like, hey, I'm potentially thinking about three courses. Which ones are you interested in? Boom. Now, I will tell you, I'm out. There are some definite advantages in terms of email marketing to making a quick quiz, quick poll within your email software and giving them the 3 options being hyperlinks that take them back to your website. Why? Because then they've clicked a link, which is really good for email engagement. And depending upon your email software, you can then attach a tag to the person. They're like, oh, they clicked the link that says they're interested in Canva. Cool. They get the Canva tag so that whenever I do the thing on Canva, I can go send the email to the people who already told me that they're interested in Canva. There would be a couple of extra steps involved if I ran that as a poll in Formidable, because then it would output that stuff and I could have it in Excel. And then I'd have to go back and do, some field matching with my email software, to say, these are the people who answered this, and these are the people who answered this, and please apply the current tags. So it's, yes, you could do that. If you've got a longer poll, you've got multiple options, you're like, you want this, but you want this only if you're this kind of business or something like that, then yes, using something like Formidable or Typeform. Typeform is gorgeous, but unfortunately that's very limited now in its free version. Free used to be super cool on Typeform. So Katie's asking, how do we do like the polls in email? Wow, I want to say I did a training on that. Maybe it's time for me to do another live training. So the answer is yes, you could send them to a link to a poll, SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, Formidable Forms, whatever's on your website, and you'd have the answers, and you'd have it even as an Excel chart. The beautiful trick of doing it all as a hyperlink that has a link click action to trigger adding a tag, that is that then the people are tagged within your email software. So the question is, if you don't think Flowdesk has tagging, and I don't remember because it's been a while since I worked with a client or Mighty Pal inside of Flowdesk. You could do it with ConvertKit. You could do it with ActiveCampaign. You could do it with Aweber, although please don't talk to me about Aweber and tags right now, because I know they're causing absolute headaches and nightmares, including for some of the people who are currently on this call. It's one of the advantages. It's like why MailerLite even has groups, which are kind of like tags and segments. Be with an email software that lets you do cool things like this if you're going to ask those wonderful questions. So the cool thing is, so these are all of the standard, you can see advanced fields. Well, those are the ones that I would get when I finally pony up to pay for Pro. On the other hand, I don't need to take their credit cards. I don't need to take their appointments. I have other software that does that. I don't need it to look things up. I don't need a star rating. I probably don't need a Likert scale. If I was really in depth doing surveys and questionnaires, Likert scale, that's the 5-point, like, we're on a scale from 1 to 5. How do you feel about Jennifer's training at Mighty Marketing Mojo? 1, most awesome thing ever. 5, I fell asleep. That kind of thing. So yes, it means that there are limits, but that's why there's free tools like SurveyMonkey, or even, some other things. You may not ever run that type of a survey, in which case, cool. There's the file upload option. That's grayed out. But look, we got text, we got checkbox, we got drop downs, we have the radio buttons. I can ask them to put in their email. Paragraph is basically whenever you want them to write more than a sentence of text, and it's drag and drop. So it might be over here like, oh, and then request. So this is where we're going to change what that says, and we're going to say something like, what is your I can't spell tonight. What is your specific problem that you need our X?
Jen, you can blame it on your injury.
I could blame it on the injury, Barbara. I could blame it on brain fog, and I could blame it on the 2-hour massage that I had this afternoon as part of the self-care and recovery. Yeah. So I'm going to hit enter, and you can see good. It changed it from whatever the default was. If you click also, one of the other forms that I think I showed you had some stuff down here. If I click advanced, then I can put a field description. You could also say I wanted placeholder text. This is where you spell out the nature of your, current website email tech problems. And then down here, if I was looking for field description, see, now you can see, oh, there it is. It popped it in. That goes away when the person goes to fill out the form. Placeholder text is indicating to them, it would be things like if I put it up here under name, it would be placeholder text. Placeholder text could be Jane Doe. Oh, wait, no, it's first name. So it's Jane. And we need to change that field label to say first name. And then this one changed to last name. And we can put placeholder text is in Doe. And so you can also see it's grayed out. And so let's see. So say we were down here, back down here, and we wanted the field description, we could put something else in here. Like if you needed to give somebody directions on how to fill something out and you didn't want to put it as placeholder text, I could put that down here instead. And you can see it's going to show up there. One other thing to do with Formidable Forms, make sure you go and hit the update button before you go anywhere else on your website. Otherwise you get the, whoop, are you sure you want to leave this page? It does not automatically save. You need to hit update. But also, until you go and tell it we're going to publish it somewhere, it's just sitting here on the back end. It's not doing anything. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to likely just stumble across it. So, tweak to your heart's content. There was a question that I think, Barbara, you had asked me in our group, like, could you use it to collect additional information, like what assets they currently have? What services are they currently using? What have they already checked? Absolutely. In fact, you could either use, I think you want to use radio buttons if you want them to be able to select multiple options. So let's drag over some radio buttons over here. And so the radio buttons would be, what research services are you currently using, if any? And you can decide whether it's going to be, stop that, required or not. And then down here, you'd start filling in what are the options that you want to give them. And again, if you need to put a field description or anything else like that. So we could say that this is request, and here we have ancestry, and you just keep clicking options. And because this is, again, a radio button, they can select one, any, all. The difference being back under add fields, if you want a yes, no, that's a checkbox. So something like that down here. Where did I stick this? Oh, I just added a text button. Well, it's just, now there's the delete. Yes, delete. Check box. So there's the check box. You're like, this could be another one for clients. Are you ready to start within 2 weeks? And then the options are, yes, I'm ready. Be no, not yet. Something about check in via email. And again, I have to make sure that I update that. Otherwise it didn't save. So those are some of the basics you can add. You can collect a number, you can collect a phone number. There's a couple different things you could do in terms of settings. So this would be, if you need, I would say would be client, we'll call this potential client sample. You could put a description about the form. And that would show on the preview, and it would show up above the form when you embed it on a page on your website. If there's information that's fairly generic, like thank you so much for sharing a testimonial with me. I've appreciated working with you, and I love being able to share your feedback with other potential clients, something like that. That's different than whatever text, images you may decide to add on the WordPress page itself. This will be also where if you want the title of the form to show up on your WordPress page and you want the form description to show up, click or don't click those options. The other one you can see is down here. So a question that somebody had asked also about spam, and do I get a lot of spam from client forms, from testimonials? And the answer is no, I don't. Mostly because this form isn't sitting right on my homepage. You have to find the page on my website where the form is, but also, yes, I've told Akismet to check for spam. So it's already catching and filtering things. The other option that you could be doing would be things like potentially a Captcha or a reCaptcha. I believe the contact form separate entity on my website definitely has a Captcha, but not the how many traffic lights are in this picture version, because no. Skip the part about Ajax and programming and JavaScript stuff. The other thing is down here, you can customize what it shows up on your screen when somebody has submitted the form. I believe there's also, I'm looking for the part about, actions and notifications. So if you want to get notified via email that somebody's done the form and you want to send an email, then you'd want to turn that on, and you would want to potentially check to see, okay, what does the email say? And this one's sending it to my admin email, and it's going to have, like, I'm not actually sure what the default message is. I'd have to go back deeper into the settings to figure out what that is. But for example, I got an email at the admin address for this website from Mighty Marketing Mojo that told me that Pam had filled out the testimonials form, and it gave me all of the information, and it emailed to me. I know that, for example, when we use forms like this for the clients, you can set it up so if you want the form to be sent back to the person who submitted it, you can do that too. Really key and crucial for collaborations like bundles and giveaways. Akismet, I'm using the free version of Akismet. Is it potentially worth it to pay? Yeah, but I've used it free for years and I haven't had a problem. And honestly, it's so good that really spam just isn't even a factor much anymore. I want to say that it's built into the automatic Jetpack suite. Yes, there's some styling. If I could say send it now, and change the button, or it say, something about bird to working with you, change it if it makes sense to do so. It could be now, change it if you want. If you know HTML and you want to start customizing things, there it is. You go do that. I have to hit update again, otherwise it's not going to remember anything. The cool things about reports, again, you can get one of the things that SurveyMonkey and Google Forms and some of the other pro survey tools do is they output your results into beautiful spreadsheets and pie charts and stuff like that automatically, or they do at certain paid tier levels. Again, so there's another reason why I might decide to upgrade to Formidable Forms. I don't need my testimonials and my client intake forms to present as spreadsheets and graphs. That would be rather silly, actually. However, if I was running client surveys frequently, sort of like the one that's over here with the tech choices and the tools, or I did it as a poll, then it might make sense to be able to have that reporting option. I don't need that part either. The other cool thing, so about entries, well, form entries. No, I don't. Oh, because there are none for that one. Right. We're in the, let's go back to, I wanted to find one that had, let's go, I want to email stories and the entries. I just wanted to show you some of the options. So, so this is all cool. I'm not going to add a new entry. Oh, no, I don't want to import it. I want to export it. Oh, look, how to prevent more spam submissions. Come on, how do we get the, you can export them all, I'm just trying to, it's been a while since I did that, to have it all export as in a different form, like a CSV or something like that. So let's go to show you what that actually looks like. And let's go find one of my pages. Where did my pages go? So back to the dashboard, skinny menu. And so I've created, get an extra bonus tutorial here, because I have so many pages and so many landing pages and stuff on my website. I'm using the dynamic folders plugin to keep them organized. I think I did a training on that in the Mighty Marketing Mojo group earlier this year at some point. So I've got, landing pages versus sales pages versus the thank you pages from different funnels. But to find what I need, let's go find stories and search pages. And so let's see. So there's the email collaboration. Cool. So this should be it. Let's just view it to make sure. Yes. So this is what it looked like when I sent it to my collaborators to do the collaborative blog post. I gave it a name. I'd said a little bit more about what I'm doing. I asked them to fill it out to be as specific as possible. I thanked them. And you can also see this is much more readable text than it is when you get down to the description of the form. This is pulling in the form description, which apparently I turned on for this page. And you can see there's the form, it's embedded, and this is a standard WordPress page. So if I hit edit page, it looks like anything that you'd edit inside of WordPress, which means, that I could have added a picture. I could have added something else at the end. I could have styled it a little more so that that you were you're going to see it because it's up in the site header that it's Mighty Marketing Mojo. You can also see, so there's Formidable Forms. So if I wanted to add the form to the page, all I had to do was click that. It says which form, select which form. And I said, well, I want the email stories, and I could either display the title or not. And it'll show display that title, no title, insert it into the post. And it's like, whoops, well, it inserted wherever the cursor was, which clearly I didn't want to actually do that. But see, there you don't have to remember the code or the ID or whatever you created for the form. Formidable knows what it is, it's saved, and there it's just right up there, and you can go and add it to any page you want. You could add it to a post if you wanted a really quick survey or a poll or something to capture some data within a blog post. You could do that. There are some people who are probably using Formidable to capture email, and names and addresses. It's just that then they'd have to take that information and go stick it into their email software, and there could be various, privacy and GDPR issues based on where you are. But you could use it to collect other information, things like, would you like a free training about this? Yes, and give me your email and I'll send it to you. Would you like, hey, you've just read this post. Which of these 3 things would you like to see from me next? And you could just have that running in the background, collecting information. And you're like, oh, cool. Now I know what I'm going to teach and train on next. So it would let you embed that form anywhere you want to on your website, which is one of, and you get to have your branding, your colors, your styling, which is the advantage to choosing something like Formidable or Gravity or Ninja Forms or any of the plugins rather than embedding a Google form. Although, like I said, you could use a Google form, embed it, and then you get to control your page style a little bit more. I also wanted to say this was an email that I just recently got from them, that you can now convert WordPress forms to PDFs based on the data that is submitted to you. That's going to be a pro feature for sure, but potentially really valuable depending upon how much data you're collecting potentially from a client or something, or you want it to output and already look nice and slick. So that's an option. I wanted to just jump over here to you. So these are pals, Lady Raven and Val Selby, who are running the Bundle Bash partnership. They're doing bundle sales on themes like every month. They're amazing so far this year. So this is the one that's going to be in December, about the Fresh Start bundle. And you can see, so this is a WordPress site, and they've given it the title, and they've put a bunch of information, like here's when the bundle is, here's when the forms. They use two different forms. The interest, like, are you interested in doing this? Tell us a little bit more about you. Kind of like that, oh, are you a potential client? Are you a potential partner form? Versus the form that they use that collects the final information. And the other cool thing is that a lot of this information, they use the same. They're cloning the pages because all of this part is the same for every one of the bundles. But I want to just show you down here all the way at the bottom. Does that look a little familiar? Because that's Formidable. But it's Formidable Pro because they've got a few more additional options. You can also see, this is a really cool example just to see what are some of the things that they're asking as a potential, collaboration. I just love it as an example as a form, and to take, elements of it. And this is all they're asking for at the beginning. You don't have to have the product done. You don't have to have a funnel created, nothing. Just, I think I'm interested. This is what I think I'm about doing. Hey, I've also done some products like this. What is it going to do for your customers? And that's how they're going to figure out, are you a good fit for that particular bundle or not? And you can see this is a check boxes. It can be one. Oh, well, it can be both. So actually that's a radio button. It just looks like a square. So, and then, they're just using a nice big blue submit button. But I wanted to show you, here's a Formidable Forms form out in the wild, but with a whole lot of other information on the web page itself ahead of time. So question, but it's asking, could you go into a little more detail on privacy issues with collecting emails with Formidable inserting into your email software? So one of the reasons that we use email software is that it has, well, first of all, they know that if you filled out the form that's connected directly to your email software, that somebody gave permission to join your email list. They know where they came from. So there's a little bit of vetting. Depending upon where you are, you might have even had to fill in the little box. You don't then have to go and upload, a spreadsheet to your email software. When you do that, if you upload a spreadsheet with a bunch of contacts, excuse me, most of the email software out there is going to ask you to potentially answer questions, jump through some hoops, tell them, how did you get this information? You're going to have to prove that you legally followed, the CAN spam and the, Canadian and other country equivalents of having permission, that somebody knew they were joining your email list when they gave you their email, address. This is why you can't just take, all the business cards that you've saved up, put them in a spreadsheet of contacts, and then upload it to, to MailChimp, because that's not how that works. That's going to probably violate several principles, within CAN spam. And there are some of the email software may make you show the page. They may make you take, I want to say back in the day when I was with AWeber, and this was way back. And I was, or like I was moving things from one website to another, or from MailChimp, maybe the first time, to Aweber. I had to show them, and I had to put the links from my web page that showed where I had a form that collected the emails and that had asked for their permission to be added to my email newsletter before Aweber would accept the upload of that file of names. Part of it's also, there's an additional step, when those people come in directly through a form, that, and the first email that they're going to be sent is going to be automated. It's going to welcome them, and there's going to be that immediate unsubscribe link. It saves steps for you. Yes, it could be possible to create an email opt-in form and be explicit and say you are granting me permission to send you email marketing emails. And in fact, if you do that, that's why I don't use anybody who comes with just the generic contact form on my website. They're not going into my email software. And that's why I tell people, don't turn the contact form on your site into a lead generation. Those people have a question for you. They're not saying they specifically want to opt into your email marketing list. And letting the software send the confirmation email and send the email that welcomes them and that has the unsubscribe link just protects you and makes things a lot simpler, than using something like, Formidable. I'm trying to think if there were other use cases that people had asked me about. Here's there's the collaborative blog post one. I have to keep finding, there's the Formidable link. I was building out the one for the video summit before I stopped, and I'm like, the people I'm asking first right now, I'm just asking them one-on-one. I'm not sure I'm gonna be using a form for the summit, so I actually stopped at this point, and I haven't published it anywhere. So questions, other things that you're thinking about potentially using forms for, that you potentially want to see me play around with or talk about, or questions on everything that I just fire hosed at you. Pam, I think you had Formidable Forms Pro. Is that correct? Yes. So the question is, what are you using Formidable Forms for right now, or what are you looking to do with it?
So I used Formidable Forms when I did my summit.
Yeah.
And I asked people, to volunteer to speak. My big question, so I struggle with the testimonial stuff.
Okay.
So when I did your testimonial, you had a lot of questions in there.
I did. Yes.
And some of them were, and so it was good because it made you think. And then sometimes it was hard because I had to think about a specific, wait, did I get that from you in that course, or did I get that from you in another course, or did you just help me with that, or
Okay, so that's the one use case where it's like, Greg, yes, we've been circling around each other and helping, for quite a while. So I get that, where that could be. On the other hand, that, and if that's not the case with potential clients, you're like, and also why I need to send these sorts of things out sooner, so that I'm not asking, why I probably should have sent this out in, I don't know, May, June. Oh, right. I had some issues in June. Because obviously, while things are fresh, if you just finished a client project, if you just finished a course or a workshop, oh my God, send the form, get the testimonials right then, while they all, remember it, and they can think specifically, this was the thing I learned in this course. So you want to say, this would be something like where we said we would work together, or the course. Well, this is my generic, testimonials page, and it would be better if I had more specifics in, like, what did you learn from doing the Mighty Landing Pages workshop? Because
Mhm.
then that testimonial is going to be more specific to that sales page, which is what keeps us both, legit with the
Yeah.
FTC on testimonials, but it also helps those who are potentially buying, and obviously the person who's doing the selling.
Yeah. So that was the one thing. And then I wanted to be able to, and you mentioned this, you use Ovation. So, and I wanted to figure out how you take these testimonials and then you put them in Ovation.
Copying and pasting.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah.
I've never used, I have it and I've never used it. So I'm just like,
So over here, the extra bonus. So Thrive Ovation is a testimonials tool from Thrive Suite. And there are ways to, as you can see up here, capture them and display them. But the really cool thing is, so I can go in and cut and paste. And this is another reason why, if you write me a whole lot of stuff, I may take, pieces out. So I'm just going to go, we're going to edit this one from Val. So I have Val's photo. Val had sent me the photo. There's ways you could do this to capture it, and then you get the photo. The title means that, so if I display it somewhere, the cool thing, because this is Thrive and this is modular, it's saving the content, which means I could go to any page on my website where I'm editing with Thrive Architect, my page editing software.
right.
And I could go and find the element that says, oh, I want to use a testimonial. I drop it on the page, and then it's like, cool, which one do you want and what do you want it to look like? And so it's going to have this title, like Jennifer saved me from email frustration. I want to make sure I have her website. Now here, the important thing is here, it's a tag. So for example, these can also be dynamic, which means if I've got a page and I'm selling something related to email marketing, like the Write Your Damn Emails Challenge, and it's relevant, I could say display 5 testimonials, all with the tag email marketing. And thanks for all who's got to run. You can finish watching, on the replay if this interests you. Thank you so much for being here with me. So I could use the tag and it would display anything that I've put in here, anything that I cut and pasted and tagged it email marketing.
Okay.
So and that's really cool, because that also means, say I set it to display the 5 most current testimonials that are tagged email marketing, and I get new ones.
Right.
Well, Ovation's going to automatically dynamically update them, kind of like it dynamically updates for my 5 most recent blog posts on my homepage.
Okay.
Or you can set it and you're like, nope, I just want 3 and I want to pick which 3. And I decide, nope, on this page, I'm going to use this quote from Val, this quote from Pam, this quote from, Claudette. And it's not going to be based on tags, but tags help me keep it all organized. And I've got multiple Val quotes in here because, yes, this one was very specific. I wanted a shorter one she wrote me a longer one. This is the one that I wanted just to be for that. So let me go back to see some of the others. So you can see there's multiple tags. There's one on challenges. There was one about Trello, repurposing, another one on Trello. This one was both marketing technology and Trello, landing pages. And when they're green and ready, or there could be ones that are, waiting for me to still edit. The green means they were manually added versus the ones where you can set Ovation to go and pull them in from social media. I haven't do that. Cindy, we moved slightly because Pam wanted to know how I took the information from the form on my testimonial and then used it on my website. So this is like bonus stuff I'm throwing at you. And the answer, Pam, is that I'm copying and pasting. I didn't automate it. There are ways, and I know Melissa is using this tool better in that regard, where she's capturing the testimonials, using something else, you know, and like she's importing for social media, or, you know, she's having people input the things and type the stuff directly basically into like Thrive Ovation. I'm copy and pasting because I want more control over what goes where. But so the cool thing is that when I do the challenge on displaying testimonials, which I've now collected, you know, and I've got several new ones, I'm going to go put them in here, which means I can go and update the page. And in fact, I'll jump to the page for Tech Therapy Hangout. Sales page. And I love it. Even though I've got the form, the folder that keeps things organized, I still have to wind up, you know, sorting things by date to go find certain pages. So I have to launch Thrive Architect. I just wanted to show you what this looks like on the back end. And, you know, yeah, on the unapologetic, you know, Thrive fan here and why. So if I scroll down, here's testimonials. But right now, these are like all my testimonials. Because when I launched the page, the product was in beta. Your founding members, I didn't have Tech Therapy Hangout testimonials. So now I would go back where it says display testimonials, and I'm going to change the template. I'm going to change the display settings. I like the colors, so I may do that. But the display settings, I can either build it dynamically, because now there will be a tag for Tech Therapy Hangout that I add in, or if I say testimonials build on static, this is where I go in and I select who I'm going to use and which ones that I want. But I didn't have to go create, you know, like Kelly shows you, now go create a pretty graphic, and you could go do that in Canva. I'm like, I don't have to do that. Thrive did that for me. It's making it look pretty. I can change the colors. I can change, there's all different kinds of templates for what testimonials look like. Dozens, hundreds. Look how pretty. So the cool part is that part of the challenge is really easy. I just had to go and actually ask for the testimonials, cut and paste, and boom, they're going to show up here on the sales page. So that's just a little bit of another reason of why you want the testimonials, but also why Thrive makes it easier to then use what I've collected with the form that was on Formidable. So were there other questions, or anybody else is thinking about a different type of form they wanted to use?
That helped. That helped a lot.
That helped? Okay, awesome. I'm glad. I'm going to drop this in if you wanted to in the chat. This is the link on if converting to PDFs is something that would be beneficial to you. And then, you know, there's always, like I said, there's always Google Forms. They're easy. They're just, it's not the same functionality of being able to create it and put the form on your own website. Betty, I really did hope it helped, especially hope that we can get you a form that makes sense for you to send to potential clients to cut down on the amount of time that you might spend on the phone with them. So hopefully some of the examples here will help you to do that. So have you used incognito? You mean incognito mode within Google? Or is there an app I'm not aware of that is incognito? Or like incognito browsing modes to test? Oh, no. You find an app that I haven't used? It's possible. It happens. I'm working, you know, so it happens. So it's like some of the other things that I was looking at. Okay, I will check with Rhonda. So yeah, you know, Cindy, it's what's possible. Higher urgencies right now makes total sense, you know, but I think that the bare bones, if you're working and have customers or clients, have a testimonials form to get information and feedback from them. You know, follow Kelly's advice. ask specific questions so that you get back specific responses that are then going to be more helpful both for you and for other potential clients and customers who see that later on. And so, yeah, yes, it overwhelmed Pam when I asked her a whole bunch of questions, but I want to potentially use different parts of those answers as testimonials from people.
Yeah, and it
Or
makes
that
sense. I answered all of them.
I did appreciate that. I haven't read everything, but I saw it was long and that made my heart very happy. The other one is, hey, folks, when life gets a little bit rough and you're wondering, you know, you got imposter syndrome, go look at your testimonials. You can go back and look at it and go, oh, I don't suck. So, you know, yeah, exactly. Thank you, MJ. That it's beneficial. No matter what, have a very, very basic one of like, hey, what did you not understand before you understand now? What could you do before? What's different? That sort of thing. Because it's really going to be helpful for you, for your offers, your sales pages, to put that stuff on social media. You know, testimonials is one, and like MJ said, the other one is if you're doing any kind of one-to-one work, having a client screening questionnaire is also crucial. So thank you guys for being here tonight with me. I appreciate it. And it's all time for us to rest and or pick up dinner. I'm going to stop recording now.